Good morning. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. Thank you for joining us this morning for today's press briefing. Today, I'm here to share some good news about our community's shared goal and shared commitment to providing our students with adequate school facilities. As the first county executive in Frederick County, it's been my desire to try to build consensus around issues and to bring stakeholders together to the table to solve our collective challenges and problems. And I think that's important because I think that's how good government should work and how charter government should work for the benefit of our community. Right now, one of the most daunting challenges the county is facing is school construction and really addressing the need for desperate elementary school capacity, particularly in Urbana and on the west side of the city of Frederick. Our community shares the goal to provide needed schools to ensure that our students have access and opportunity for a quality education. The goal to build needed schools is supported by our elected officials, certainly by myself, the members of our county council, and I'll note 3 of them are here today, and I appreciate that, our Board of Education, our state delegation, by our educators, our teachers, our parents, our PTA advocates, and by members of our business community, including the development community. As a long-standing advocate for public education and the need for adequate school facilities for our children, it's been a personal priority for me to make sure we build needed schools. And I'm pleased that community leaders in Frederick value and understand the importance of education to our economic prosperity, and that we here in Frederick work together. I think that's one of the things that makes Frederick County special, is that we talk to each other, we don't always agree with each other, but we work together on solutions where we can find common ground. So Frederick is really a special place. As we know, the immediate need for school capacity is primarily at the elementary level. To partially address this problem, the Board of Education has requested that we fund and provide 2 new elementary schools at the same time. These schools, Sugarloaf Elementary School in Urbana and Butterfly Ridge in Frederick, are needed right now. We'd love to have them today to address some of the worst overcrowding we've seen in a long time. Schools in those areas of the county are approaching 150% of capacity, and I want to share what that really means. In Urbana, we have over 500 students who attend school in portables outside a school building, and in Hillcrest, it's about 300 students. And that really is unacceptable for our community. And no one disagrees with that we need these 2 elementary schools. But the county has faced a daunting challenge to try to identify about $40 million to finish the construction of Frederick High School, which came in much higher than we anticipated, and was, I will say, the largest and most expensive project that in the state at this time, while also advancing the construction of Sugarloaf and Butterfly Ridge elementary schools. So last month, I held a press briefing and spoke about some of the options that we were exploring to help address our school construction funding gap. And I'm pleased to report that in approximately 1 month's time, with lots of different stakeholders recognizing the challenge, we have worked together to find a solution so that we can build our 2 critically needed elementary schools. It's been a work in progress, and it's been a great challenge in the face of this dramatic increase in the cost of school construction. So here's a little summary of what's happened over the past month or so. Legislation's been introduced in Annapolis for more school construction funding. That bill had a hearing on Tuesday of this week, and I was really thrilled to be joined at that hearing by our Superintendent of Schools, Terry Albin, Board of Education member Joy Schaefer, and our Chief Operating Officer for Frederick County Public Schools, Ray Barnes. That committee was very interested in that bill. It was really a timing issue where we did not get an adequate state share for that increase. And so I want people to know that advocacy is happening in the state legislature and that it's broadly supported by our local elected officials. The Board of Education and the public school system staff have been busy value engineering Frederick High School's project, looking for cost savings, and to date they have identified about $1.5 million dollars in cost savings and past budget transfers to acknowledge that. And that's certainly a part of the solution. And they've also offered this week, in conversation with Ray Barnes, to reduce their request to the county for fiscal year 17 and fiscal year 18 by $1 million for each year. And I got to tell you, every $1 million helps. In April, when I release my proposed capital budget, there'll be, unfortunately, some county capital projects that will be delayed or modified to help reduce costs and to direct more money towards school construction. The largest of those is the southern portion of the Boyers Mill Road project from the bridge south to Old National Pike will be shifted to fiscal year 19. We've had requests for several new fire stations, which will not be funded, and a number of other smaller projects will be delayed. In addition, I've advanced 2 bills to the County Council with proposed increases in developer fees. Those are impact fees and mitigation fees, and you will note at a recent council meeting, they adopted amendments that would adopt the full increase for impact fees over a 2-year phase-in, and also an amendment to add an annual adjuster to both fees, and they'll have a public hearing on that on March 22nd. So now to today. I'm here to share good news, and here's the good news. We have found a community solution to fund and advance both Sugarloaf Elementary and Butterfly Ridge at the same time for construction in fiscal year 18. And that's a real accomplishment. And the community solution includes the acceleration of the state share of 3 projects, Frederick High School, Sugarloaf Elementary School, and Butterfly Ridge, by 2 developers who have agreed to help accelerate that state funding. And that's approximately $27 million. Plus, that combined with the cost savings from the school system, the increase in impact fees, the delay of other projects, and we still have some outstanding issues to involve, like the oversized gyms and how they're going to get paid for. But we are able to keep these schools on track for our children, and I think it's really a positive solution. So here's how the acceleration of the state share by the developers works. Basically, the developer pays all the costs for issuing bonds and puts up a letter of credit to guarantee payment of interest on those bonds until the county receives that state share. So and that can take 5 years or so. And then the county repays the debt and pays down the line of credit over time. So in October, in the fall, when we first started talking about this, I approached Tom Natelli, who's the developer of Urbana from the Natelli Communities, to discuss this idea. Now, Tom's father, Tony Natelli, entered into a similar partnership with the county in 2005 when I was a county commissioner and advanced Centerville Elementary School through this same kind of concept. So to Tom's credit, he immediately agreed to partner with the county without even knowing what the numbers were, because he wanted to be part of the solution. So since Tom Natelli and I first started talking in October, it became more and more apparent that his partnership, even when combined with the added savings from value engineering the projects, delaying other CIP projects, eliminating the oversized gyms, advocating at the state, passing new fees, that we would still not have enough money to allow Frederick High School to get finished, Sugarloaf Elementary, and Butterfly Ridge Elementary to be completed on the time frame the school system wanted. So around this same time, Council President Bud Otis and Vice President MC Keegan Ayer began having constructive discussions with a number of stakeholders. And as a result of all of these discussions, a shared solution was reached to meet our short-term school construction funding needs. In addition to Mr. Natelli Communities, another developer came forward, Jason Wiley of Elm Street Development, and they are the developers of Lake Linganore and other projects, that they were also willing to enter into the partnership with the county. So Mr. Natelli and Mr. Wiley, on behalf of their companies, have agreed to accelerate the state share of Frederick High School, Butterfly Ridge Elementary, and Sugarloaf Elementary for a combined total of $27 million. They've agreed to split the money equally between the 2 of them. And their partnership allows us to finish Frederick High School as planned in fiscal year 17, and it will allow Sugarloaf Elementary School and Butterfly Ridge Elementary School to begin their site work in 17 and construction in 18. It also will allow us to keep Urbana Elementary School on time and also on schedule right behind Sugarloaf Elementary, which will involve construction over 19 and 20 because there's a demolition of a schools involved. So these developers have stepped to the table. And, we always ask developers to step to the table. They've stepped to the table. And I have to say, without their role in this solution, these schools, or at least one of them, would probably have been delayed because the cost commitment was just so daunting. So I want to thank Mr. Natelli and Mr. Wiley for their commitment to partner with our county, and I'd like to invite them to say a few words. So I'll let Tom speak first, and I'll step aside.
Well, thanks, Jana. Let me first thank you and your staff and Bud and MC and really the entire council for the energy that was put into trying to work cooperatively together over the last 6 months to come up with a solution that works for everybody. It almost goes without saying that the need for all of us to work together to ensure that our schools remain among the top rated in the state is paramount. It's important for all the families who call Frederick home, but it's also important for the business community. We need it for the local economy. So I'm pleased to be a part of the solution and excited that we found a way for both schools to happen. I think, quickly, the forces that are driving the need for investment in schools are coming from many sources. And clearly, new development is one of those sources. There are other sources, too. There are demographic changes occurring in some of the older communities, not only in Frederick, but across the state, where people are moving out of homes who don't have school-age children, and families are moving in who do. And that's also forcing the need for reinvestment. And then there's, the renovation of aging structures, which is important for us to, keep focus on and continue to pursue. So many, many different factors. I think at the end of the day, any of the solutions that we come up with together need to ensure that we maintain very high standards and excellence in the school system, but also recognize that we need a thriving business community. And the business and development community is a really critical part of the local economy. So thank you very much for all the work you did. I really want to thank Jason Wiley, John Clark, and Dave Flanagan from Elm Street for stepping up and joining this partnership. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Jason Wiley, again on behalf of Elm Street Development and the several projects that we are involved in the county and the city of Frederick. We definitely appreciate the opportunity to be asked to be a part of this solution by Jan and Bud and MC and all the rest of the council who's been involved in the negotiations over the past several months, the staff as well, and thank you especially to Tom for the creative thought and energy that's gone into this. Clearly, our company is involved in development in most major jurisdictions within the state of Maryland, within Northern Virginia. Everywhere we work, partnership with the local government and the local community is of paramount importance to us, to our industry broadly. I think everybody understands that for our business, the building business, having quality schools is the number one thing that makes communities a viable place for folks to live. It's always been a reason that we've been attracted to doing business in Frederick County. A lot of the work of the people in this room are the folks who have made the quality schools that we've always appreciated in the county, made them happen. And so we really do appreciate all the work and effort that's been put into that. It's a constant battle to stay on top of infrastructure needs. And so we as a building industry and our company specifically, we do put a lot of investment into schools, roads, water and sewer, and the communities that we build. We always need to stress, and it's a challenge to remain an affordable price option, and all the infrastructure that goes into our communities has to be borne by the market. And so that's always something that we're focused on. And I believe the council and the executive and everyone has been great to work with as we've had this dialogue, and I know that we will continue to have this dialogue going forward on the challenges that remain ahead of us. And so I think this has been a great example of how it's so much better off when we do work together. There's so many negative examples out there of government not functioning very well that I'm really hopeful going forward that this will be a great example of a positive working partnership environment. And we're hopeful to go forward with this solution and others with the county. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments and for your partnership. I do want to say, I think this is a model for others across the state. I think Jason said that to me at an earlier conversation. And, I do think we have to look for solutions. So, again, it is a work in progress. We still have to continue to work on longer term solutions as well. So the conversation will definitely continue. And I do want to say all of this would not be possible without the hard work of Council President Bud Otis and Council Vice President MC Keegan-Air. They've shown a lot of leadership and commitment to developing and finding a solution to keep these extremely needed school projects on schedules. And, real solutions, come as the result of conversation. And, so I really want to thank you for your leadership on this and offer you both an opportunity to speak.
This was a very interesting process. Strong personalities with strong opinions, but we were able to work together. Compromise is not a bad word. I think it's good to be able to negotiate together and find solutions. And we had a serious issue, and that's providing 2 new schools for our students. That's important to everyone in this community. It's important to the business community, as well as to the parents and those that are looking to locate in this community. They want to know what kind of schools we have, and we want to have the best for our students and for the parents in the business community. So it's been fun working with the development community. I enjoyed working particularly with Mark Lancaster as well, and the Builders Association. Were very active in helping us as we were trying to negotiate and figure out good ways to come to a common solution that everybody could be a win-win for everyone. And that's what I really appreciate so much about this. And Jan, I really appreciate working with you on it. I think we've each come to the table trying our very best to figure out how can we have those 2 schools. And we did not give up, and whether it's will is way, and when we work together, we will get it done. And our Vice President, MC Keegan-Air, was very helpful in working with me on this.
Hi, many of you know me as one of the Bobbsey twins of school construction. I have made my name in this county advocating for school capacity needs, school issues in general. And so when we were faced with shortfalls in the budget to be able to keep Butterfly Ridge and Sugarloaf on track, and then we were hit with a even larger shortfall for Frederick High, I was really torn because I have advocated for school capacity for almost 20 years now, and as an elected official, I was faced with, I'm not going to be able to make this happen, and this is not where I want to be. So I was absolutely thrilled when these 2 gentlemen stepped forward and their company stepped forward to help us find a solution. I was even more thrilled when the county executive continued to have her staff crunch the numbers and crunch the numbers and crunch the numbers so that we made sure everything would work out and that these 2 schools and Frederick High could stay in the CIP where they were slated to be. And now the next step comes because we have to roll up our sleeves and can sharpen our pencils and continue looking because we have other schools in the CIP that are needed as well. And so while we can celebrate this funding strategy win, I'm looking at the next hurdle and going, oh gosh, do I have enough strength to get over that? And so I'm going to look for the community to help us come up with another creative way to continue to keep our school needs and our children's needs on track and So thank you both, Tom and Jason, and appreciate working with you.
Thank you.
Okay. I also want to thank the rest of the county council for their confidence in their leadership. I mean, the whole council decided last week on to approve and move forward some amendments for a public hearing, and I think some of them did that on faith that we would reach a solution to build these schools. So I do want to thank the entire council. I also do want to acknowledge that this funding strategy does still require some additional work because it is a short-term strategy. It improves the first 3 years of our county capital improvement program considerably by putting all the schools on time and on schedule that the Board of Education asked for. However, it doesn't bring a lot of new money to the table. Obviously, the impact fee increase will bring some additional money. But what the acceleration does is it takes money that was in years 4, 5, and 6 and moves it up into years 1, 2, and 3 to make years 1, 2, and 3 work. So when we go back and look at years 4, 5, and 6, we only have one new school in years 4, 5, and 6 that we can afford, and we have a request from the Board of Education for multiple schools, several of which are in Councilwoman Keegan-Ayer's district. So we will continue to have a conversation over the next year about how we find additional solutions so that we can address these needed schools on the long-term basis. So I do want to let people know that, we still have to keep talking. We still have to keep looking for solutions. We still need to bring some work to the table so that we can continue to build those schools in the out years, because we need Waverly Elementary because it's overcrowded now. We need Rock Creek Elementary. We need a new school new elementary school in the New Market area. So, we're committed to continue that conversation over the next year. So as we move forward, I'm going to also today announce the creation and appointment of 2 work groups or task force. And so first, I want to announce the formation of a roundtable work group on the cost of school construction. And the objective is to bring experts to the table to look at how we can build schools more cost effectively. Now, I'm aware that there's concern and even some skepticism among the building community about the actual cost of school construction, whether these higher costs are going to be sustained over time. And I appreciate that because they have not seen these kinds of cost increases in other residential commercial work. And we likewise have not seen it in a number of our other county projects. They've gone up, a normal kind of 3 or 4%, but they haven't gone up by 20%. So the state is also currently looking broadly at this topic, and they are also appointing a work group statewide, which will have local representation from Frederick County on it to address some of these issues. So I'm trying not to be too redundant with that, but I do think it's important that we have this conversation locally. So I want to share a little bit about how this roundtable work group will work and who will be on it. So I'm specifically giving them some objectives. So one of the top objective is to evaluate ways to reduce the cost of school construction with the objective, I think I should slow down, the objective to reduce the cost by 8 to 10%. So we can look at cost savings in a number of ways. How can we get more bidders to the table? What is our bid solicitation process? How do we utilize subcontractors, the design of projects, and review options for mechanicals, finishes, and construction methods, and value engineering, and maybe even to make some recommendations to send in to that state work group on how we can address some of the state procurement laws and some of the mandates we have from the state. So I have asked Mike Marshner, who many of you know, who is a special assistant in the county executive's office, to be the chair or facilitator of this group. So members of the group that I'd like to announce today, and I may add a couple more as this moves forward, is obviously Mike Marshner, Ray Barnes from Frederick County Public Schools, which we say he's our school construction guru here in the county, Chuck Knipe, who's the director of Public Works and in charge of vertical construction in the county, Jason Wiley has agreed to be on it, Jeremy Holder, Dusty Rude, who's with Rogers and Associate, Joe DeToli, who formerly worked for Frederick County Public Schools, Dick Pryor, who is retired from Pryor Mechanicals and has background in mechanical systems and HVAC, Tom King, who's an architect, because we do think that he's designed some schools. Now, I picked a few people who are retired so that they have knowledge and expertise, but not necessarily going to come in and bid on a project or do work on the project. And we're going to have a representative from PTA, and that'll be Kyle Boshin, who's the legislative chair of PTA. Now, I have invited a few other people to participate, but I haven't been able to confirm them yet, so we will be adding a couple more people to this school construction cost group. And I want to say that it's going to work a little bit differently than some of the task force I've appointed in the past. I want to kick this off with a stakeholder roundtable so that everybody can dialogue, really find out what the consensus is on certain issues, and then have the work group move forward over the next 6 months to a year to really come up with strong recommendations. I have found in using that roundtable approach that you find consensus on a lot of issues in a very quick way, and that I think that will be positive to make this process efficient. Then we've also had a request from Councilmember Schmelik and Councilmember DeLauder, who were joined by the rest of the County Council in requesting that I form a task force to look at the option of leasing schools. And this proposal was discussed at the County Council joint meeting with the Board of Education in February. So I have agreed to form a task force at their request, and I would have Councilmember Schmelik and DeLauder co-chair the task force. And they have asked me to appoint the following people to participate in this: Matt Warner, Tom Natelli, Doug Browning, and Lori Deppes from county staff, and Ray Barnes from Frederick County Public Schools. And they will also want to add a delegation representative, and who is yet to be defined, but I'll certainly appoint whatever member from the delegation is solicited to participate. So with that, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Councilmember Tony Schmelik, who has joined us today to talk about the objectives of this work group.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'll be very brief. The idea is to be very laser focused on what we think might be a possibility. The state does allow for a lease option. As far as we know, it's only been used in one place in the state, and that's in Washington County. So we want to look at it with the stakeholders who really are the county. And so the folks that were listed are folks who are really will know whether or not that we can make this work. And so really that's all there is to it. It's not, we want to find if it's a viable option. If it is an option, how it would work and how we could proceed forward, whether or not we could build more schools economically. And, quite frankly, the bottom line is, if it doesn't work, if it's an option that might be out there that doesn't save us money, that doesn't help us to produce schools quicker, we want to know that. But we want to look at it, just one specific particular item. And we hope to have something to report back in no more than 6 months. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So as you can see, the work will continue, and it will continue in a number of ways, and we'll really have a lot of work done over the next year to make sure that we can have the out years of our CIP look as good as the near years of our CIP, because we know schools are needed. And I do appreciate everybody's ideas. We don't know if the lease build option will work. It's been allowed by law since, I think, the School Construction Act of 2004. It hasn't been widely used. And so there's a lot of questions about it, and I think it's really a good thing that we have leadership on the council who wants to pursue that. So, in conclusion, I want to let citizens know that, our work is not done. We still have long-range challenges, but we have good news today. We're advancing 3 schools in the CIP. We're advancing Frederick High School to finish. People need to know there's $20 million more needed to finish that in fiscal year 17. And we'll move forward with both Sugarloaf Elementary in Urbana and Butterfly Ridge on the west side of the city of Frederick. And those that's really a good news for those students who are currently, and their families and their educators and everybody else, to make sure that those students have the access to a quality education. Yesterday, I participated in a regional branding exercise, which was very interesting. It was a Maryland, Virginia, DC branding effort. And CEO of a biotech company said, there are 5 things we need to promote business in the region. The first was education. We need good schools. We need access to a quality labor force. We need to have access to capital, which of course everybody needs to have access to money. We need to have a regulatory system that works. And I can't remember the 5th one. What was the 5th one? Oh, I don't know, maybe that was it. Maybe that was all 5. I think education and labor force were 2 different ones. I kind of combine them together because they are together. So, education is the foundation of our future economic prosperity. And I really appreciate the community partnerships to get schools done. It's what everybody wants to see us do. And we'll keep working on it for the next year. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll try to keep you posted on the work of all these work groups. And we do have some public hearings coming up. On March 16th, I have a public hearing on both the CIP and the operating budget. Now, according to the charter, the primary objective of that hearing is for us to put out all the budget appeals and let people comment on what community priorities should be. And I always get a few after that date, so I just want to say it won't be a complete list because somebody always sends me a request after that date. And on March 22nd, the County Council is having a public hearing on the amended impact fee and mitigation fees. And again, I want to thank them for their support for this solution. And with that, we'll adjourn for the day. Thank you for joining us.